what Suman also raised was intellectual property rights. And there has been this argument for a while now that a lot of the things that our farmers and everybody else did, because of certain advances in technology, the West comes and reaps the profits. Where can we bring equity into this business?
I'm with her on that. I mean, intellectual property is a very serious issue. And those who create it tend to think, this is going to seem like a facile example, but look at Windows. Windows was put on every computer, and no one had a chance to do anything else. And it was an antitrust violation of the highest order, and it was wrong. Now, seeds are like that, except food is way more important than operating systems. And there's got to be a way to move ahead with intellectual property in the public domain. We need to solve those problems. It's not like, I hope no one got from my talk that all these problems are solved and we should move blindly ahead with genetically engineered products. But I think we should move ahead with the science, and I think a lot of problems are solved, and we need to address the other ones. They're very important, but let's call them what they are. They're not scientific. They're political. They're emotional.
Suman, you wanted to quickly refute that. And any other questions do you have? Okay.
Yeah, let's take the questions first, then I can...
Ashwini?
Just to say that artemisinin is a good example, but biopharma is not. Edible vaccines are not. You're making genetically engineered plants with rabies vaccines and cholera vaccines in tomatoes and bananas, and these are going to go out into the market. I mean, this is hokey stuff happening there, but the questions first.
Yeah, Ashwini? And then...
Yeah, my name is Ashwini Chopra. I'm a medical doctor.
No, one second. Ashwini is speaking. Go ahead.
There was a very famous scientist called Niels Bohr, and he said, the greatest truth is one whose opposite is equally true. And I've actually tried to battle with this myself. The proponents of science are right, and the promoters of non-science are also right. I mean, I practice medicine at a scientific level. I still not cease to be overawed by the miracles of science and technology. I practice it every day. But I see the dehumanizing of medicine taking place in front of my eyes. I see how the technology aspect of medicine is taking away and focusing only on the physical and not focusing on the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of the human being, So I'm actually quite confused which way to follow. I mean, I've tried to live up in the mountains in places where there's no electricity, no water, and I'm very happy there, But you get sucked in. You get sucked in when you come back to town, and so it's very tough. It's very tough to see who is right and who is not. There has to be the middle path, like the Buddhists say. So I'm confused myself, actually.
Is that philosophical, or you want a question?
I didn't hear a question there, so.
No, I just wanted
to make a comment. We can move on, and he was, I think, making a large... Yeah.
Ma'am, I have two questions, one for you and one for Michael. For you, I wanted to ask you that would BT brinjal have been any more acceptable to you if we did not have a patent issue associated with it, and if, like the internet, the technology, the process was thrown open for public use? Is that more acceptable to you for experimentation with genetic engineering? And for Michael, I wanted to know, someone spoke about the leaks, the laboratory leaks, which will always happen. And I usually see those science fiction movies that I'm very fond of, and I am sort of convinced that probably if not in my generation, probably in the next generation or the generation next to that, we will actually have a monster which would be created by genetic mutation. So
cool.
do you really have a way of preventing that?
I'll answer mine first because it's quick. The short answer is no. We can destroy the world very easily if we want. People can make batches of smallpox. They're capable of doing that. If we focus on what we're capable of doing with technology, we already have enough technology to destroy the world many times over, cheap technology. So the question is, can we use new technology or the technology we have better? Safety issues will always exist. I don't think it's an answer to say because someone could use something badly, no one should ever use it.
Suman, you want to?
Sure. The question on whether BT brinjal is acceptable to me is immaterial. The question is, has it been done right? And the answer to that is no. There is something that a lot of people don't know, something that I put out into the public domain several times. Was the BT approach to controlling the so-called pest of brinjal at all necessary? The answer is no. The BT gene controls a pest called the caterpillar borer. That's all it does. The main pest of brinjal and the brinjal family, to which tomato and chili and all of this stuff belongs, is not the caterpillar borer. It's a disease called bacterial wilt. So you have this disease for which you're trying to find this problem. That is how corny a lot of times this technology becomes, which does not mean that the technology per se, I mean, I think there are issues with the technology, there are safety concerns here, etc., but that's a matter of science. And there I'll agree with Michael that you have to keep these compartments separate, except for the fact that they don't remain separate in application. If you really wanted to control the pest of brinjal, you should have found a solution to bacterial wilt, not the caterpillar. And that is how application goes so wrong. You don't have a law for labeling. You don't have a law on liability. You don't have any independent verification of the tests. The protocols are still fairly Neanderthal. Our test protocols for food safety are very, very elementary. So these are the things that does not make you an opponent of a science. I think science and technology must go back to the lab when there are questions and clean it up further till you come to a question, till you come to the situation where you can confidently say, yes, this will work now, or no, we can't get the wrinkles out, like Australia did. The CSIRO in Australia worked for years on peas. And they tried to make a transgenic pea to control a pest that attacks peas. They were not able to control it because every single time they created this transgenic pea, this genetically engineered pea, and they tested for food safety, there were huge issues. There was inflammation in test animals. Finally, they decided this is not going to work, so shut the door on it. And that is what honest science should do. Test it till you are fairly confident that it is safe, and if you can't get the wrinkles out, shut the door.
Well, I'll have to wind up this session. I know this can go on. It's quite a heated debate. But to sum up, and that's the feeling I got, is that both are right. There is a huge amount I'm not being diplomatic. There's a huge amount of benefits, as Michael pointed out, that we need to look at, where science can transform our lives, make the huge difference. And as Suman said, and I think that's very important, those come with risks, and those risks can be dealt with ethical issues, they can be looked at precautions, however much Michael dislikes that word, and regulation. And if you put both of that together, I think we have a winner. Thank you very much, and I think Arun... You'd like to... There's a little segment.
Mr. Arun Puri, if you could just present the memento first to Ms. Suman Sahai.
I think that contains some expression.
And the next one to Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Ms. Sahai. That was a really interesting discussion. Thank you both.